Grace, goodness, and gratitude. Good morning. Prayers and well wishes for you and your family. I am continuing with my look into goodness, and this week I wanted to use a couple verses from the 23rd Psalm and tie them into my discussion. I call your attention to verse 5 and 6. Verse 5, you prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil. My cup overflows. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever. The point I would like to make is that, as we understand it, the 23rd Psalm is attributed to King David, and it was clear that God favored David very much. The goodness that David experiences is tremendous, and yet we read on several occasions where David was doing some really questionable stuff. Now, I pause at this point to mention that those of you that feel like I should be saying that David really screwed up and did terrible things might be right, but I am trying to avoid the judgment of his actions because I want to point out that God was still blessing and lifting David up through that stuff. Goodness will follow us, and the relationship with God is the key. You prepare a table in the presence of my enemies. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days. The thought I keep having because of the struggles I am having is that while I may be going through some of the same stuff that may have been plaguing David, God still loves me, and he will mete out the appropriate correction to my enemies and make sure that at the appropriate time, there is sufficient opportunities for goodness designed specifically for me in my life. I consider all the things that he puts into my life as an opportunity to get into his presence and to be a giver and receiver of goodness. As usual, I would point out that we must be mindful of when it is our flesh or that of others that is the cause of the strife we're dealing with, because that is the time for us to be honest about the responsibility so that we can give God all the glory and avoid the pitfall of taking any credit for the power used to make goodness out of bad. The encouragement today is to continue to read in Psalm 23 and also apply the sentiment to our current situations and hopefully receive the counsel of the Holy Spirit so we can get to the spot in which God has already prepared blessings to rain down on us. I also want to mention that as you are going through your week, seek out and be attentive to opportunities for you to be the one to show and or give goodness to others. We have to be open to the leadings of the Holy Spirit because, as I've experienced on so many occasions, I am often lifted in spirit when I am walking in the will and calling of Jesus. I am by no means taking credit, just testifying that it seems to go way better when I'm doing good for others. Be a blessing, be blessed, be.